So you will be listening to part 1 of my NFL tiers for week 12 and 13. It was actually meant to be going into week 12. We actually just got to it after week 13. So we'll call it week 12/week 13 NFL tiers. Enjoy. This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. All right. You want to do these tiers?
Yes. I'd trade for you first.
Shouts to Tim.
Right now.
Shouts to Tim, because we'll get to the part 2 tomorrow.
Which I'm excited about, because Tim and I were having a little bit of back and forth dialogue talking about the Patriots last night.
And I had to keep my mouth shut. I'm like, I don't want to say anything that might spoil it. But all right.
Yep.
We're going to get through these quick, because obviously, the first tier, aka the last tier, is called meaningless.
Yep.
So we don't even have to talk about these teams, and it's just the Raiders and the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. The Tennessee Titans, this might be one of the 5 worst teams I've ever seen in my lifetime. I'm not going to lie to you.
Do you think they win one more game this season?
No.
So you think they end with 1 loss? Or, one win?
And yeah, they should be defeated.
Who were we talking about before?
The Jets was a team because they were the only defeated team, and that would have been the Titans in the question I had if they hadn't managed to find a team to beat, which was the Cardinals. This team's horrendous.
And I think I said at that point, I still think the Titans are worse, and I thought they actually would have got a win by now. I don't know how their season ends. I don't know how their schedule ends. But I know there was people who really thought the Titans could at least cover against the Jags, because the Jags are a very not serious team, and the Jags blew them out. So
they
play
the Browns next week, which Myles Garrett could break the sack record next week, guys. He's at 19. He needs to get to 23. 4 sacks is well on the board. And then after that, that's on the road in Cleveland.
Yeah, they're not winning that game.
The road in San Francisco. They host the Chiefs.
Not winning that game.
Their game is they then play the Saints after that at home. So that Saints game on the 28th is their only other chance for a win, and then they play the Jags at Jags, who are going to be playing for the playoffs.
You would think. So that Saints game is really
that Saints game. So
they might get to 2. They're for sure not getting to 3 unless someone shocks the hell out of us.
Garrett might break the record next week, guys. Just letting you know.
Say the only way they beat the Browns is if Shedeur. Even if Shedeur got injured, I think Dylan Gabriel would be enough against that team.
Can they get to 9 or 10? Can the Browns get to 10 points without whomever?
And it sucks because I actually think Cam Ward's good. This has nothing to do with Cam Ward. It's everything to do with.
This is the same. The Mulligan seasons, we've seen him in the past. He gets a pass for this year. It's not he's had some flashes. I don't think Cam Ward's bad.
It's funny. I said meaningless, and we're not even going to talk about these teams. And we actually just had a Titans conversation. But again, the other team was the Las Vegas Raiders. Disappointing all around. I thought they were at least going to be a competitive team. They are nothing. This next tier, Keenan, is called extended preseason. I have the Browns, the Commanders, the Giants, the Jets, and the Saints. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Extended preseason. You're always playing to win, but you're really trying to see what you have for next season.
Could you read those teams one more time?
The Browns,
yep.
The Commanders,
yeah.
The Giants,
yep.
The Jets,
yep.
And the New Orleans Saints.
I agree with all of those teams in there.
Yep. It's crazy because the next tier I have, you could actually argue these all should be lumped together. But I think right now, Browns, Shedeur time. You're seeing what you have in him.
Yes.
Commanders, you're just trying to get out healthy. I don't think we see Jaden Daniels again this season. I actually probably should put the Commanders in the next tier just because they have not a ton of talent, but they have
enough
playoff
talent.
Pedigree. They were in the NFC Championship last year. Yep. They know the season's over. So I should actually put the Commanders in the next tier. Giants, young guys, you're seeing what you have in Dart, getting him some reps and rhythm, much like our boy Drake May last year.
Yep.
Jets, they traded a lot of pieces. They got a lot of picks back. They got Tyrod starting right now. They're just getting a rhythm. We're just really, honestly, we're seeing what we have in Aaron Glenn as a coach, if you're a Jets fan right now. And it kind of looks promising. One thing I would give the Jets is they've been competing. It's been an ugly season. It's been a treacherous season, especially with Justin Fields at moments. But they're competing, and it seems like the vibes are at least good. It doesn't seem like the lowly, solemn Jet season that we normally get. So we'll see with them. And then the Saints, obviously, they're the 2 quarterbacks. They're young. This is always going to be an extended preseason for them. We've seen them It's funny. I feel like with Shuck, they've been less competitive overall than with Rattler. I feel like they were in games more with Rattler. And I feel like with Shuck, it's been, I don't know. It hasn't looked good.
No,
but they've still been competitive, but they're kind of like, all right, let's just get out of here alive kind of thing. Hold on. I got a call, so I got to go back to the notes app. Any more comments on those?
No, I think after hearing them all again and talking through those teams, I might move the Commanders up to whatever you have next, just because all of the teams in that have a certain. The Commanders more so just felt like an injury team that kind of like more so was lackluster rather than a team that even going into this, because most of the teams going into the season we didn't have much confidence in, but it was like, what do we have in this team? And so extended preseason, let's see what we got, who can stay on the roster, who cannot stay on the roster.
So not that it matters, but I am adding the Commanders to this next tier, which is playing spoiler. And it's now,
I would agree with that.
It was 3 teams, now it's 4. Cardinals, Commanders, Falcons, Vikings.
Yeah, I think for me, it's really disappointing that the Falcons are in the playing spoiler.
And they were, Keenan, prior to, so just little background information, we would have done this, would have been Thursday morning, but we wanted to really get to the picks. Prior to the week games, and when I was making this on my flight, the Falcons were actually in the tier ahead. They obviously lost on Sunday to the Jets, actually. And it looks like they're out of the playoff picture completely. So they're playing spoiler. They got talent, which is why the Commanders make more sense here. They've got talent. They've got vets. You know what you have as a team. You're not checking to see, on a coach or a player. You're just playing out the season. You're going to try to play spoiler to the NFC East team. So the Commanders make more sense here.
You had the Commanders, the Cardinals. You had the Falcons. What was the other team?
Vikings.
The Vikings. Yes, all 4 of those teams are teams that have playoff caliber talent on their roster, but due to either bad quarterback play or just injuries or whatnot, have been in a situation to where they have fallen. So I agree with the Commanders being there more so, and I do agree with this so far. So far, I have no complaints or really anything.
And had all 3 of the Cardinals, Falcons, and Vikings won last week, they would have been in the next tier. And to speak on the Vikings while we're here, I don't want to belabor the whole J.J. McCarthy Darnold point because I brought that up.
You would love to, though. This is your favorite. This is your favorite thing to talk about.
I brought it up since probably the end of the playoffs last year. After Darnold had those bad games, I'm like, I'd still bring him back, right?
Yeah.
I would say this is still technically an extended preseason for these 4 teams, right? Difference is you're seeing, I guess in the Cardinals case, maybe you're seeing what you have in Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah.
And maybe the quarterback position, whether Kyler comes back or not. Commanders we talked about. Falcons, I mean, Penix might be injured into next year. We haven't even talked about that. Who knows what'll happen with Kirk Cousins? You're really just playing spoiler at this point.
If I'm the Falcons, I think that Penix has the capabilities of possibly being a franchise quarterback for the future. That's fine. Kirk Cousins can't be my starting quarterback week 1 next year. I'm trying to go get Mac Jones. I'm trying to go get one of these guys because I think whoever starts at quarterback could hold serve. And you could be in a veteran kind of situation to where then in a 2-year, into the year, Michael Penix could come back. Because I'd still, J.J. McCarthy, I'm already out on. Like if he shows something cool, I'm going to be proven wrong and thought like, hey, good for you. I'm glad that you're able to do this. But I'm not out on Penix. I think that Penix can be at least a good quarterback in the league, kind of what Tua in the ranks has been. In the sense of Tua's been a good quarterback. Is he great? No. Do you think he's maybe a franchise quarterback? It's kind of up in the air, but I think Penix could be that. I don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to be in this league. I really don't.
You know what's funny? I'm not even down on J.J. as a quarterback in the future as much as I am. It's like NFL stands for what? Not for long. If you got a 14-win team, me and Uncle John were talking about this, and I think I said this to you. This was a 10-win team, Keenan, last year, the Vikings. I'd probably be like, all right, whatever. That's a reasonable risk to take. You don't stumble upon 14 wins in the toughest division in football, the NFC North was last year. So why not tag him? That's why it's like, all right, so what are you actually going to do with JJ now? Because he's either got to make a leap, or if he's bad through 6 to 8 weeks next year, you got to make a change. It's undeniable you got to make a change because at this time last year, we're talking Super Bowl about the Vikings. Now you're not even in the conversation on December 2nd.
There's no reason why they can't be in the playoff conversation right now.
No reason.
The defense is still good, obviously, and offensively, they still have a bunch of pieces on that offense. If they got adequate quarterback play, they would be in a situation now where if Sam Darnold was on this team instead of the Seahawks, we don't know what the Seahawks would be because obviously we don't know a quarterback would have replaced him.
I can tell you they'd have at least 2 more wins right now.
They would.
That I can tell you.
They would be a 500 team that were close to a 500 team that if they weren't in the playoffs would be a dangerous, like, oh, we have to play the Vikings this week. Golly, that's a loss. That might be a loss.
And let me say this with the 3 teams, not the Commanders: Cardinals, Falcons, Vikings, and really these 2. Vikings once. These 3, okay. The Vikings, once, if JJ is starting this week after this concussion, if he actually comes back, you really want to see what you have in him.
Yes.
You really want to kind of, I don't know if it's possible, but lower the intensity and be like, all right, JJ, like, show us what you got. You want to see some promise heading in to 26.
Yep.
Cardinals, I like Gannon as a coach, but it seems like he would be on the hot seat. It seems like it would be an either-or decision for them.
Yeah.
I actually think Raheem Morris's seat is hotter in Atlanta. I could see if this season continues to end badly, I really don't think he's going to be there next year. So I think if you tell me Mac Jones is going to be, just saying, like if we get Mac Jones, I think it's going to be with a new head coach. So I think we'll get Mac, Kirk, hypothetically Mac, and a new head coach there. If it's not, then okay, we're going to see more of this. Could be a 5-win team, could be a 10-win team under Raheem, which is unfortunate because I was rooting for him.
They're fun and they have a lot of talent. And seeing Bijan in big games, you got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, you got a good offensive line. Tyler Algier is a good backup running back. You've got pieces defensively. You now got 2 nice edge rushers. Obviously, you still have the best free safety in the league in Jesse Bates. You've got pieces on the team. The team has talent walking into a building. You don't walk into a Jets game like, man, we have less talent than the Jets. No, you've got more talent than the Jets. But you'll manage to falcon your way into a Nick Folk 58-yard field goal for a loss. That's just how it works. That's just how it works in Atlanta. And it's unfortunate because this is a team that if the Panthers right now are competing with the Bucs, there's no reason why the Falcons couldn't be competing with the Bucs this season. There's no reason why they couldn't be 6-7 right now, would be competing with the Bucs. I mean, obviously.
And then lastly, just about Gannon. I think he's a better coach. If they were to let him go, he probably doesn't immediately get a job next year. Maybe he does the Vrabel thing and does a special assistant. But if he goes to a coordinator, if he becomes a DC somewhere, that's a hot commodity. And if he's not, I do think the Cardinals are in a good position. I wouldn't fire him personally.
I wouldn't. There was no need.
I think this is year 3 for him.
I think so. I mean, you had to figure out, was it Gannon or Kyler? I wouldn't bring back Kyler. I think the Kyler Murray experience is over with. And Jacoby Brissett, as I do think he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league, I think at this point, having to put faith in him trying to take your team to a playoff run is a little tough. So I would try to figure out the quarterback position of whatever you're going to do next year and then get this team right. And then hopefully you can get Marvin Harrison Jr.'s his immense talent and actually get everything out of that talent. Because so far he has not been as advertised.
This is where it gets fun, Keenan.
Mm-hmm. Is this the last tier?
No, we still got 6 more teams. We have 4 tiers for 6 teams.
Golly.
So this tier is called, so you're saying there's a slim chance.
Bengals.
Bengals is one of the 2 teams.
I don't know about to have Steelers, maybe?
Miami Dolphins. This is the Bengals and Dolphins.
I actually like the Dolphins being on this tier. This is a team that in the preseason, I had obviously said that I thought Mike McDaniel was going to get fired. And as we've talked about a couple times, every time where I was about to be the fire button, like you open the case to press the red button, Mike McDaniels came through, closed it because that team's actually played with heart, energy, and effort. So I do want to shout out again that because this team did lose Tyreek Hill. They're one of their best offensive players. They don't have the most talent. We went into the season talking about their defense not being great, and they still have played decent. And then obviously the Bengals have won every game Joe Burrow has started, not obviously finished, but started. So 1-8 without him. If they could have just went 2-6 or 3-6 without him, they would be maybe the favorites to win this division right now. Genuinely, with how the Ravens are looking, if you had them all at 6-6, I think the Bengals will be the favorite to win the division as of right now, but there's still a chance for them because of how abysmal both of those teams have looked.
So lay out the case, because you're a big part of Keenan, or a big reason why I put them in this tier. I mean, there's only 2 teams. Quickly on the Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins. I'll bring up the page.
I actually thought the Dolphins would kind of be in this position preseason.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is I thought they would win early on, and then I thought maybe it would get tougher for them as the season went on.
Yeah.
It's been the opposite. They had a rough start, and they've actually been peaking, if you want to call it that, from the middle of the season now, like from November and into December, which makes them an extremely tough out because they've got momentum right now.
Yep.
They got lucky with that Saints game coming off a bye. Not lucky, but that's a fortunate schedule.
Yes.
Schedule win, I should say, coming off a bye.
And also
coming off a win.
Extremely weird win for the Dolphins last week.
I didn't catch much of it.
It was set, so it was 17-19. The Saints, like, they got up early, and the Saints came back. They go for 2 to tie it, and then they throw a pass. It gets picked in return for 2. So
that's right. I saw that. Yep.
So it's 21-17, and I want to say the Saints got the onside kick, or if not, they got the ball back. They got the onside kick, but because they got the onside kick, it was a 4-point game. So now they have to go score a touchdown instead of a field goal winning it, which is insane. Because even if they did,
was that the game that we watched where they recovered the onside kick and it was like slightly a yard short? Maybe not.
I believe so. I was that
the
1 o'clock the 1 o'clock window. I didn't get as in tune with because I was at work, but I tried to watch everything I could. But yes, you want me to make the case for the Bengals?
Make the case for the Bengals because they're there. The Dolphins, give me the Dolphins schedule first before we get into the Bengals.
Dolphins schedule. Give me 4 seconds. The Dolphins schedule. They end with the Jets. They end with
Jets next week.
So
they could possibly be 6
Steelers,
and 7.
Bengals,
possibly 7
Bengals on Sunday night, and then the Bucks and the Patriots.
It's a tough end of the schedule,
which is why I think
they get to 8 and 9. If you had to, if I had to pinpoint it, I think they get to 8.
They're 5 and 7 right now. I would say 7 and 10, but I think 8 and 9 is probably the peak for them, but I would say 7 and 10. And I think that after what I thought they were going to be this year, I'm not mad at that for them.
Yeah, I think they for sure get to 6 and 7 against the Jets. Is that at?
It's in New York.
It's in New York?
Yes.
It's a little tougher for Tua, but so let's say they win that game, then it's really going to be what are you, right?
Yeah.
Those are going to be playoff games from here on out after. Including that Jets game. You have
to win out, and then hopefully you get a wild card for them. So they're not mathematically eliminated by any means, but it's...
So give me the Bengals case.
Case.
You've said this a couple times.
I have. So obviously the Ravens are 6 and 6, the Steelers are 6 and 6, the Bengals are 4 and 8. So in this scenario, the Bengals have to win out. If they don't win out, it doesn't matter.
Give me the Bengals schedule.
The Bengals schedule is a tough 2, and then not terrible afterwards. They have the Bills this coming week. They've got the Ravens the week after. Then they got the Dolphins, the Cardinals, and the Browns. The Browns, they do play in Cincinnati, so the Browns defense doesn't travel as well. The Cardinals, they do get
luckily that's in state.
Yeah, I was going to say, luckily it's in state. Cincinnati, they do get the Cardinals in Cincinnati. They get the Dolphins in Miami, which for a high-flying offense like that's actually not the worst thing in the world. You get Jamar Chase in good weather. So it really comes down to this Bills game in Buffalo next week, which is going to be extremely tough. But also, in this case, Buffalo has not played consistent football. It's been a great game or a good game, I should say, against the Steelers. Didn't play great. Josh didn't play great. Then you have a bad game. You've played the Dolphins bad. You played the Panthers bad. Played Panthers well. You played Falcons was another bad team that you played. The Texans, you didn't look great against the Texans. That was the game before. So with the Bengals, it's just simple. You got to win out. But that would put them at 5 and 1 in the division with their only loss coming to the Steelers because they have beaten the Browns already. They beat the Steelers once, and then they beat the Ravens once. So that would put them at the best, and everybody would have to be tied at 9 and 8. So there is that.
Let me give you real quick, Keenan. You probably have seen this. Darius Slay and the Steelers are parting ways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw this, and he's a free agent. He will try to latch on with the contenders, so that could be a welcome addition for a team that's in the hunt now.
I think maybe the Colts try to do that because they were trying to solve the corner position by trading for Sauce Gardner, but then Sauce Gardner obviously got injured. We don't know how long. I don't think they've officially said anything.
Haven't seen.
But it looked Achilles. I
think we would have heard about that if it was a torn Achilles.
I didn't love the look of it because it was a classic look back and see if someone kicked you when you stepped.
It's a calf.
So it looked Achilles, but obviously that's not So we don't know how long he's going to be out for. I think getting Slay in that rotation, especially when down the stretch you need to win a few games to make sure you get in the playoffs.
So it's good news on Sauce. Says his Achilles is okay. They're not mulling IR, so it should be a couple weeks. However, as we've seen, you can't play with calves because calves can turn to an Achilles injury.
I would,
in the NBA.
if I'm that, because the Colts need wins right now. They have a really tough schedule to end the season, and they could fall out of the playoffs if they don't get these wins, especially because they're playing the Jags and the Texans again.
Part 2 to that, though, Keenan, the Steelers, they release him. They picked up, and I didn't even know he was released. They picked up Adam Thielen. Another old weapon for Aaron Rodgers.
Nice. And another possession guy for Rodgers to get to. Nice. But, and then so that's the Bengals' case to win, is they have winnable games past these next 2. And if they can't win these next 2, they shouldn't be in the playoffs anyway. So obviously, but the Steelers, they're 6-6, so they can't win more than 3 games here. They play the Ravens twice. They play the Dolphins. They play the Lions. They play the Browns.
Brutal.
Oh, Zion will miss extended time with a right abductor. That's
of course he will.
That's a shock.
Of course he will. He was back for 2 games.
That's a shock.
2 games.
Good. It's good to see.
I don't think I'm even joking with. I think he was literally 2 games back.
I think it was 2 games, but he's going to miss extended time. That's a shock. But
unreal.
But you have Pittsburgh. So for the Steelers, that you have the Dolphins at home, but it's a tough schedule because you have a Lions team that's going to be fighting for their life. You get the Browns in Cleveland. That's going to be difficult. And then obviously you get the Ravens twice and you get the Dolphins. And you need to win 4 of those games in this scenario with I don't think 4-1's on that board there. Okay. I think that, and so there, and now you get to the Ravens, and the Ravens have, hold on just a second. The Ravens have the Steelers twice, of course, which typically they split every year, except for last year they did. I know they did split last year. They typically split every year. So give each of them just 1 win just for this. The Ravens would need to get at least, I think, 4-1. And this is if the Bengals win out again, but they'd have to be 4 wins, and that's against the Bengals themselves. So they'd have to beat the Bengals and you'd be fine. But then the Patriots and the Packers. So it's realistic that the Ravens or the Steelers don't get to 10 wins. And if that's the case, if the Bengals win out, they get to the playoffs. That's the only reason why, because a tiebreaker with both teams, they would win because they'd have the division head-to-head. And they'd have the head-to-head in each match. The Steelers would go to the division. The Ravens they have the head-to-head against them. So
they essentially got to do well in these divisional matchups and clean up. Like this Bills game is going to be.
Yes, essentially the Bengals need to win out, and if the Bengals win out, there's a good chance that they make the playoffs.
I can tell you this too: it's already colder than usual in the Northeast and in the North right now, so it could be a very cold game. Bengals and Bills this weekend. So that was. So you're saying there's a slim chance with the Bengals and Dolphins. This next tier is called No Man's Land. There's only 1 team in this tier.
So Ravens?
It is the Steelers.
The Steelers. Yeah, no, they're in No Man's Land. We just talked about the Steelers, so I don't really have to say much about them. They're in a position now where they have to go, 9 wins will win the AFC North. I think it's tough to say over the next 5 games that they're going to win 3 times.
Yes. And they're just unremarkable. They had good wins early on the season. They actually had a great win a couple weeks ago against the Colts. Rodgers gets injured in that game, or maybe the next game. I can't remember. Gets injured this past game with a broken nose. Fire Tomlin chance. It just, the vibes aren't good. The vibes are not good over there in Pittsburgh. They have all the talent in the world and the coaching staff to be able to have a successful team, and you got Aaron Rodgers at QB.
They don't win 3 games, it's going to be the first season under 500.
Yeah, they've just given us no reason to actually believe they can do that. I thought by now they would be putting some bit of cohesion together, and they haven't. There's been no rhythm to their season at all. And even in their wins, they haven't looked great, and their losses, they at times look even worse. They put up 7.
Their best win of the season probably is that Patriots game that they won, where the Patriots turned the ball over 5 times.
I'd say probably the Colts game.
There was a Colts game too. So that was those are their 2 best wins of the season. So against playoff teams for sure, but The Patriots even had a chance to win, and they turned the ball over 5 times. That shouldn't happen.
Next tier.
Yeah.
Worthy competitors. You want to take a stab at it?
Worthy competitors. No, you have Dallas higher than that. No one in the north or south. No. Panthers would be my team that I'd take a guess at. Worthy competitors would either be the Panthers.
Any more Panthers?
It would either be the Panthers or it would be.
You think it's only one team in this tier?
I'll say I thought it was a one. I'll go Panthers and Ravens.
It's only 2 teams, and it's the Chargers and Jaguars.
Chargers and Jags. Okay. See, I thought these teams would be a little higher on your list, but I don't mind them being here. I think the Chargers could be a little bit higher. Wouldn't hate that. But I do understand what the injuries that they've sustained on the offensive line. It's really tough to see. This next game against Philly, I know Philly hasn't been playing great, but this next game against Philly will tell you a lot about the Chargers, regardless of the injuries. Because if you can... The one thing about Philly that has been pretty good all season, except for last week, the run defense wasn't great, but the defense has been pretty good all season, pretty good to great. If they can move the ball on Philly, that will tell me enough that this team can get it done against the higher upper echelon teams in the AFC.
I think the only thing that could really raise my expectations for the Chargers, because of how their offensive line is banged up, is if Omarion Hampton comes back and looks like a true difference maker.
He should be back for Monday night. They should be active for Monday night.
If that's the case, because you said, like, okay, we'll find out what this team is with Philly. Yeah. To me, the Chargers and the Jaguars, these 2 teams, they're stereotypical, just prototypical, I should say, playoff teams. I don't think they're going deep in the playoffs. Wouldn't surprise me if they miss the playoffs necessarily, but I think if they make it, they're good enough to maybe win a game, and they're good enough to, like, put the fear of God in you in a little bit. If the Jaguars were more competitive, I think they could be better than that. Their health has actually been okay outside of Travis Hunter. They lost Brian Thomas Jr. for a couple weeks there. He's back. The Jaguars could potentially rise if they could be a serious team. We've just never seen them be a serious team in the Trevor Lawrence era. Again, that's why people were picking the Titans to cover against them this week, because, hey, maybe the Jaguars just take a nap for the first half. We've seen that. Yeah. They didn't. They actually handled their business like grown men. Maybe that's because of the Titans. Maybe the Titans are just that bad. We'll kind of find out with these 2 teams. But these teams might be in the playoffs. They might not be. Either way, I think they'll be worthy competitors down the stretch. This last tier, Keenan. Actually, in the last tiers we did, for week 6, I had a tier towards the bottom. It's towards the bottom. It was like the lower 20s heading towards the teens. And it was TBD. And the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Vikings were all in there. And the Vikings we've determined.
And the
Bengals, we gave them a slim chance. They're still kind of TBD, but really, we got them as an outside shot playoff team. Yeah. TBD is just the Ravens. I still, 6 weeks later, still have the Ravens in TBD, which is insane. Yeah. And the only reason I have them above the Chargers and Jaguars and not closer to the Steelers, because, again, Steelers are below. Let's be clear here, too. Bengals, Dolphins, you're saying there's a slim chance outside the bubble that they show on In the Hunt, right? When you see it on these graphics on Fox, CBS, NFL Network, whatever. No man's land. Steelers, they're in the hunt, but you don't feel confident about them, right? Chargers and Jags, I think both are in the playoff picture right now. Yeah, maybe one or the other.
Both are in the playoffs.
Ravens are technically leading the division, or are the Steelers?
They have the lead over the Steelers in the division.
But no one feels good about them right now.
No.
Reasonably so. Lamar doesn't look great. Bengals beat them. I took the Bengals on Thursday. They handled them. Only reason they're ahead of the Chargers and Jags is, Keenan, if they do get it right, I think we would feel better about the Ravens than we do about the Chargers, Jags.
The pinnacle of the Jags is the second round. The pinnacle of the Chargers, if Joe Alt comes back, I think he has a chance to come back.
Does he? I thought he was out for the year.
Joe Alt might be out for the year, possibly. I couldn't remember if he had a chance to come back or not. But regardless, the Chargers, the pinnacle to me for them would be the divisional round, especially if Alt's out for the year. I don't know why I thought there was a chance he could come back like at the end of the season. Could be wrong on that.
He's out.
Oh, he's out for the season. Okay, so yeah, their pinnacle's the second round. The pinnacle for the Ravens is the Super Bowl. That's still a thing. Like, the pinnacle for them is the Super Bowl. So Of course, you have to have them higher, because if they're all in the playoff picture, if you had to bet, hey, the Ravens, the Jags, or the Chargers, one of those three teams is going to even be represented in the AFC Championship game, everyone would say, for the most part, yeah, that's the Ravens. The Jags, you can't put faith in. The Chargers don't have the offensive line right now to withstand anything. There has to be the Ravens. And you assume that Lamar is going to get out of this slump that he's in. He hasn't been playing well. Obviously, he's had injuries, but even on the one run that he had, like early in the game, he was looking like more spry than normal. It surprised me. I was like, okay, is Lamar a little back? And no, he's not. So if you can just get Lamar back to being Lamar, I think that the Raven team will be fine. And honestly, I would just sounds bad, but I would just take the ball out of his hands a little bit more. Derrick Henry should be running 18 to 22 times a game. And you have Derrick Henry, you have Keaton Mitchell, who is an athlete who's very fast and explosive, and he can break a game open with his speed on either a screen or some toss plays or whatnot. I would just lean back into being a heavy run team and a play action team and allowing Lamar to dice you up that way, because right now it does not look comfortable just sitting back in the pocket because he doesn't feel like he can evade of the pocket. So I would just lean on Derrick Henry. That's what I would do. But hey, that is me.
Since I've been doing the tiers, Keenan, I've never had a to be determined this late in the season.
Yeah, we don't know.
Weirdly, or technically speaking, the Ravens are exactly where they want to be as far as they're leading the division.
Mm-hmm.
How they're playing is not at all where they want to be.
No, not at all.
And the reason why they are in this category and the reason why they are ahead of teams like the Jags and Chargers is because if they can put it together for 2 or 3 weeks, Keenan,
yes,
they should be a contender.
100%.
And they have all the talent in the world on both sides of the ball. And now they're healthier than they were when we were talking about, is this team teetering? Or maybe this team season is over around week 6.
Yep.
They've made the run that we said. They won a couple of the games that we said they needed to win to be in this position.
Mm-hmm.
And now they just don't look good. And if you want to give me their end of schedule here.
They have, let's see if I can remember from what they just said. They have the Steelers next week.
Then 2 Steelers, then one more Bengals.
And then the Bengals, then the Patriots, and the Packers.
And the Packers,
so
okay.
In order, it's Steelers, Bengals,
You want to talk
Patriots,
about a team we're going to
Packers.
find out about? It's the Ravens.
If they get to the playoffs, if the Ravens get to the playoffs.
Which I almost think they do by default.
See, they might by default, because realistically,
they have to win that Bengals game.
I was talking about obviously the Bengals here. Realistically, I don't think the Bengals are going to win out. But
they can. If the Ravens trip up, they can.
But
that's
they can't. The thing about it is, this Bills game will tell me everything. Obviously, because then the Ravens game will pretty much be for like
the crazy part about it, because Bengals have 8 right now.
They've
8 losses.
Yes, 8 losses.
All right, so they have to win this Bills game.
Yes, it's a must.
Bills win. It's going to be huge for the Ravens because. Let's just say the Ravens look exactly how they've been looking. Mm-hmm. It's why the Steelers were in the no man's land here. Like, none of us have faith in the Steelers to actually put a run together this last month of the season here, right? So you almost, by default, you feel better about the Bengals with Joe Burrow right now. Even with 1 loss and your season's done, you feel a little better about them than you do the Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't like the Steelers. If the Steelers had an easier schedule, maybe. They probably win that Dolphins game. We'll see because it's at home. But if the Ravens were to just absolutely flame out, and I can't imagine it, but after Cincinnati kind of dominated them,
so
they've got such a tough schedule down the stretch, Keenan. If they lose 3 of those games, yeah, you could find yourself where it's Steelers or Bengals.
And it could be the Bengals even at 8 wins.
No sense.
It could be because, realistically, right now, do you feel more comfortable in the Patriots or the Ravens?
Today, the Pats.
Today, do you feel more comfortable in the Ravens or the Packers?
Packers. Yeah.
And then right now, Bengals at home against the Ravens. Where are you leaning?
I'd have to see it. As of last Thursday, it was obviously the Bengals.
It was the Bengals. And so, my point in saying all that is, then the other 2 games are the Steelers games. We all know those games don't.
Yeah, one of those games I will give to the Ravens.
One of those, and then one of them's.
I feel like if it was a 13-win Ravens team versus a 2-win Steelers team, we could still book that for being a 3-point game.
Yes,
20-17.
And so we don't know. And so that's the thing that's going to make this really interesting. And also, welcome into the Ravens Steelers. Aaron Rodgers with a broken wrist. Have fun with that.
You know what? And then you just saying that, man, yeah, all right. These games are always hard hitting. Rodgers doesn't want to get hit.
That's
it's got it. The only chance the Steelers have is if Rodgers is like, fuck that. I'm going to go back to what I used to be. And I want to get hit. I'm going to take these hits. I'm going to sling it. We're going to call plays that allow me to sling it. I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either. But like, you've got to get into playoff mode at some point. Like, the thing about Brady late career is Brady did not want to take hits. You would see Brady self-sack all the time. But late, that sounds crazy. But
there's self-sack just for Brady.
No, but but literally, like, he would just drop and like he wouldn't get hit. Like, but late in season, when he was like, okay, it's Thanksgiving time, it's playoff time, 3rd and 8, and they had to have it, Brady would take the shot, and he would deliver the ball and take the shot. At some point, Rodgers, you're gonna have to do that. And I understand you're injured, and if you're that injured, then sit down, because Mason Rudolph gives them a wider offensive playbook somehow, just because he can roll out, just because he can withstand time.
They look better with Mason Rudolph.
So, like, if it's that bad, Rodgers, then sit out. Genuinely, if your wrist is that bad, and that's fine. You're going to be 42. I think you're 42 today.
I'll put it like this.
Let me check here real quick. I think your birthday is like today, or if not, really soon. But go on.
I think Aaron Rodgers has 2 more wins in him.
Happy birthday, Aaron Rodgers. You're 42 today.
I think Rodgers in particular, I think he's got 2, like, I'm playing well enough for us to win type of games in him the rest of the season at the most.
And he needs one this Sunday.
I think the Bengals have 1 more loss in them this season, even with Burrow. I think they have 1 more loss.
We talked about this for about 15 to 20 minutes. The more I talked about it, the more I think the Bengals could lose a game and still get in, because I think 8 wins might be able to get you in now that.
So it's Ravens Steelers this Sunday.
Ravens Steelers is this Sunday, and then the Ravens go from the Steelers to the Bengals to the Patriots to the Packers to the Steelers. Are you kidding? Like, what kind of sick joke of a schedule for them is that? And they're playing the worst football the Ravens have played in like 4 years.
They got to have 2 promising games on there for any of us to take them seriously.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, that's why we did part 1 here, because it ends with the Ravens. They are 16th. They're officially, or they would technically be 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got 16 more teams, and they are the split. And I feel like that's proper. I feel like they are dead set in the middle.
The line of demarcations, the Ravens in the league right now, and I'm fine with that.
I can't wait, Keenan, because I actually don't feel confident I feel less confident about my top half of the tiers than I do my bottom. I kind of like how they're sectioned off, but there's some teams where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they deserve to be where I put them. I don't know if they deserve to be even maybe a little hot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still questioning and arguing with myself over it. I've got a flight in a couple hours that I'll determine where I'm going to put some of these guys, because it actually looks kind of crazy right now. It makes sense in my head, but specifically near the top, like the contenders, I think you, Tim, and I are going to have like a whole thought experiment with this, because
I'm excited.
You can make a case either way.
I'm excited because now we really get to talk about the cream of the crop. And obviously, we just had a longer conversation about this bottom 2, but we didn't really need a lot of deliberation with it. It was kind of more so just us talking about the teams. This top portion of the tiers always has a lot of deliberation, but we always feel like, man, this pod's been dragging on for an hour and 15, so let's not stay on it for this long. At this point in the season, I think it was right for us to split it, because these top 16 teams, and we'll obviously mention the Ravens in there too, because they'll be a playoff team, but this top 16 teams deserves to be talked about, because realistically, 10 of these 16 teams will make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Realistically, because obviously a couple of the ones below, like the Chargers, the Jags, and the Ravens might make it, or whomever, but realistically, about 10 or more of these teams will make the playoffs.
And there's nothing clear among these teams. Like, even as I'm looking, there's just, I mean, I don't think I'm breaking any news when I'm saying this. I think even coming off the loss to the Panthers, I think the Rams, probably out of every team, are the one team you can be like, all right, they're still elite. They're still this and that. Like, it was a hell of a performance by the Panthers.
They feel the most complete. The only thing about that Rams loss that shocked me a little bit was just the fact
turnovers.
It was the way they lost. If they would have lost a 20-13 game that they didn't wake up, I would have felt better about it, because it just really felt like the Panthers outplayed them. And that was what made you.
Which doesn't necessarily mean bad for the Rams, because they were due for a loss.
No,
that could mean pro.
Yeah,
Panthers.
That could be a pro Panthers thing. And I'm not saying like because the Rams to me played probably a B level game.
Mm-hmm.
And the Panthers played, I wouldn't say an A+ game, but I think they played probably A- to an A game.
I'm just laughing, Keenan, because how I got this set up right now, Keenan, like, yo, the fan bases would kill me for who I have above certain teams.
I love it.
At the contender spot. And this might flip. This all might flip, or I might tier this a certain way or mix and match a certain way to where it makes sense. Right now, if I showed you my top 8, I think you'd be like, huh? And the way I put it, like, because I'm not going to say too much, but the top 8 almost doesn't make sense, but it also does make sense. Yeah. Is all I'm going to say. Okay. But you know what, Keenan, me saying that, I think that's how the season is right now. I don't think anything makes sense. It doesn't make sense other than the Rams.
Here's the cool thing. I didn't argue.
And the Seahawks. Seahawks have been consistent.
The Ravens are below the Panthers. We know this for a fact because the Panthers' names were not mentioned and the Ravens clearly were mentioned. Mm-hmm. I can't even be mad that you have the Ravens. Like, what am I going to say? Like, that Rams win, that Rams W is better than anything the Ravens have done this season. Like, they've had to, like, man, I'm telling you what, this Ravens team, they might miss the playoffs, and we might have a Lamarless and a Mahomes-less playoffs.
Could happen. It could be Allen, Mahomes, and Lamarless and Burrowless. We could reasonably be without all the top 4.
All 4.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Allen most likely is in. Like, I would be shocked if the Bills missed the playoffs. But, like, as of this moment, I think realistically we're out 2 of the 4 for sure. Which 2, I'm not going to say. But we're out without 2 of the 4.
Which 2 you're not going to say?
Which 2 I'm not going to say at the moment in time.
Why is that?
I mean, because we'll wait for that. We'll wait for the top portion of the tiers because most of the teams we're going to talk about is the top portion.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
2 of the 4 we're not going to say. And my thoughts right now.
Listen, I almost wish, because Tim said he's available to record at 8 o'clock tonight, I almost wish that my flight gets canceled and I just have to stay here for another day. And maybe we get up part 2 tonight. Maybe. I think it's going to be Wednesday, though.
It's going to probably be Wednesday, but so Kyle can pack and get ready for his flight. This was the Warner Brothas Podcast. We appreciate all of you guys. This has been extremely fun talking about this NFL. We got to talk about NBA. We talked a little MLB too for like section. So that's why I come to the Warner Brothas Podcast, because we know a little about a lot or a lot about a little, whatever the case may be. But whatever the case may be, we appreciate all of you guys. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, everything at Warner Brothas Podcast, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We appreciate all you guys. We'll be seeing you guys again very soon.